Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into something that is absolutely everywhere right now: how generative AI is fundamentally changing how we work, how we hire, and honestly, how we actually prove our undeniable value in a world where, well, everyone looks flawless on paper. Let's just get right into it because this is a massive shift and it affects literally all of us, whether you're out there job hunting or just trying to stay relevant in your current role. So think about your last job application. Or, maybe a flawlessly written report you just got from a coworker. It really begs the question, how do you stand out when algorithms are making everyone look completely perfect? AI tools like ChatGPT have totally democratized good writing. Suddenly, everybody's cover letter reads like it was penned by a Pulitzer-winning poet with an MBA. But here's the catch. When everyone has a supercomputer polishing their words, the baseline for what actually looks good gets completely skewed. To really grasp the scale of this, just look at this number: 242. According to a March 2026 report by Thai Talent, that is the staggering average number of applications flooding into a single job opening today. Just imagine being the recruiter or hiring manager staring at a massive stack of 242 cover letters that all sound suspiciously identical, using the exact same buzzwords with the exact same flawless grammar. It's wild. And this flood of AI-polished documents is totally overwhelming recruiters. The data here is super telling. A Robert Half survey, also from March 2026, shows that 65% of hiring managers say hiring is actually harder and slower now, which is crazy, right? You would think AI would speed things up, but it's doing the exact opposite. These AI-generated, basically ghost-written applications are creating this massive bottleneck, causing delays of up to 2 weeks just to filter out the noise and find actual, genuine talent. This brings us to part one of our explainer, the trust gap, and why critical thinking is needed more than ever. Because there is this profound shift in trust happening right now. Thai Talent explicitly calls it the resume illusion. Basically, when every single candidate appears to be a world-class strategist on paper, the resume itself starts losing its value. Recruiters are just incredibly skeptical now. They read a bullet point and their first thought isn't, wow, this person is impressive. It's, wait, did you actually do this work or did you just prompt a chatbot to say you did? To understand what's happening beneath this whole facade of perfection, we've got this really fascinating new study from Microsoft Research. They surveyed 319 knowledge workers and mapped out over 900 real-world Gen AI tasks. They basically wanted to know how AI is literally rewiring our brains, our cognitive effort, and our critical thinking when we sit down at our desks every day. And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of our new workflows. The researchers mapped tasks against Bloom's taxonomy, things like comprehension, application, and synthesis. The blue sections show where people feel their effort has dropped. For example, nearly 79% of workers perceive way less effort in basic comprehension when they use AI. Now, sure, that sounds amazing for efficiency, but quietly, underneath that illusion of efficiency, our critical thinking muscles are actively atrophying. Which brings us to a phenomenon known as the irony of automation. The quote perfectly nails it. If we blindly trust AI to handle all the routine work, we actually lose the exact cognitive skills we need to handle exceptions or verify the truth. So when the AI gets it totally wrong in a high-stakes legal document or a complex piece of code, the human user who outsourced all their thinking is just totally unprepared to fix it. So to survive the AI era, we have to rethink everything. Let's move to part two, a new workflow, shifting from execution to stewardship. The Microsoft study identified three massive shifts in how we use our brain power. The first is moving from information gathering to information verification. Look, before AI, gathering information was the prized skill. Today, AI does it in literal seconds. So your distinct human value isn't in the gathering anymore. It's in critically verifying those sources. You have to cross-reference that AI output against official manuals, external authoritative sources, and your own hard-earned expertise. The second big shift is moving from raw problem solving to response integration. Sure, an AI might give you a perfectly logical answer to an immediate query, but it doesn't know your company's tight budget constraints, right? It doesn't know your client's specific brand tone or the weird cultural nuances of your team. Your effort has to go into taking that generic AI response and integrating it with real, nuanced human context. And that leads right into the third, and honestly the most important shift of all: moving from task execution to task stewardship. We're no longer just executing tasks from A to Z. We are stepping up into a much higher level role of oversight. This is essentially your new job description, no matter your industry. Task stewardship. It's the role of guiding, monitoring, and critically evaluating AI to produce high-quality outputs while, and this is absolutely crucial, retaining human accountability for the final result. You are the steward. And stewardship is exactly what separates authentic, seasoned human competence from a generic, copy-pasted AI generation. Okay, so now that we deeply understand this cognitive shift, how do we actually apply it to stand out? That brings us to part 3, breaking the illusion and proving your skills. Thai Talent lays out this highly actionable 3-step framework to get past generic claims and provide undeniable evidence of what you can do. To beat the resume illusion, you've got to do 3 things. Build a proof-of-work portfolio, develop behavioral storytelling, and master the 15-minute human test. Let's break these down real quick. First up, proof of work. You absolutely have to kill the trust me mindset. Now it's all about let me show you. And portfolios, they aren't just for designers anymore. They're for everyone. If you're a project manager, show a redacted timeline of how you navigated a major delay. If you're in customer success, bring case studies showing your exact methodologies for reducing churn. Pointing to specific challenges and tangible results proves you actually lived the experiences on your CV. Second, you need behavioral storytelling. Interviewers are completely flipping their scripts right now. They're going to dig hard into deeply situational questions. And specifically, they want to hear about your professional failures. Why? Because while algorithms can write a perfectly structured success story, they absolutely cannot fake human resilience. They can't fake the frustration, the nuanced emotions, or the real judgment calls you had to make to recover from a difficult mistake. And third is mastering the 15-minute human test. This is the recruiter's initial sanity check. On that very first screening call, they're intensely comparing your actual verbal energy with the polished persona on your application. If your resume sounds like a seasoned executive, but you stumble on explaining a basic strategic why over the phone, the interview is over. You've got to know your numbers inside and out. Which leads us perfectly into part 4, the human advantage, moving beyond the algorithm. Navigating this AI-saturated market isn't about avoiding the technology. Use AI to structure your thoughts, for sure, but it's about amplifying the distinctly human elements that the tech simply cannot replicate. Think about it like this. In a world completely overflowing with perfect, robotic, digital copies, the unpolished truth is actually incredibly refreshing to hiring managers. Being transparent builds undeniable trust. Showing genuine self-awareness, taking a pause to really think about a tough question instead of just spitting out a rehearsed paragraph, and acknowledging where you still need to grow, that will always, always beat a robotic response. They aren't just hiring skills anymore. They're hiring a human they actually want to work with. I absolutely love this quote from the Thai Talent research. Detail is the natural enemy of doubt. If an employer or client is skeptical of your work in this AI era, you must overwhelm that doubt with precise, deeply human details. Talk about the specific framework you used, the names of the tools, the messy obstacles you overcame, the feedback you had to negotiate. And AI doesn't have those lived details, but you do. Which leaves us with this final thought. When AI can perfectly mimic competence on paper, are you brave enough to show your authentic lived human experience? The perfect AI-generated resume, that's just the ticket to get you into the room. But your authentic human stewardship is the only thing that actually keeps you there. The question is, are you ready to prove it? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.